Good morning. Happy March. Happy March 23rd. Man, it has been a week. I don't know about you, but I've been fielding phone calls from clients, from friends, from people who don't even know me very well, who've been emailing me and going, "Could you please tell me what's going on?" Because it's gotten a little bit intense. So there's been some wild stuff happening as you know. So I've called this the massive challenges for a reason. So before we dive into the solar flares and update, please like and subscribe so that we can keep these numbers going and start to connect with one another. So thank you. Okay, so let's start with the solar flares, right? So first and foremost, we've had some very mild. If you look at this, it's kind of like C, 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 M, like very unusual. And you can see the numbers down here, like C5, C1, M1. Okay, so this is about what an M, because it sort of hits into the yellow. When we look at the whole month of March so far, it's just all C's and M's. And this over here is the highest C, which is a C9. The lower ones are like C2. Yeah. And then M1.2, M5, 1.5. Again, the flares have been absolutely calm during what I'm thinking is sort of some of the most intense energies I've been through in quite a bit. Now, to put that into context, what's happened is that, and I just dropped this off of Instagram, but this is the size of the coronal hole that they've found that creates solar winds. And these winds, when they blow, they activate all of the same symptoms that we're having with the solar flares, right? Whether we have actual flares or winds. So when we have these winds, what it does is it drives the KP index up. So we can anticipate that the KP is going to hang out between 2, 3, and 4, but can go up to 5, 6, or 7. So when we look at what the KP index is that, at the highest, it's over here at 9. And so we're already hanging out at a 5. And then we get up in here, we can start to feel it, right? We can start to feel it in our body. These winds are, they're intense, right? I have never, and I agree with this comment that's up here, which is I haven't experienced energy that has affected me quite so much, kept me on the couch, had me cancel things that I was going out to do, and just kind of keep taking care of myself. So I want to acknowledge that this is a very unusual long stretch of time where we're having symptoms that can mimic or be solar flare symptoms that have a lot of other reasons for it, right? So go back to our symptoms and think, this is where we have to hydrate. We have to make sure that we have electrolytes. We have to make sure that we have salts in our diet. We need to rest. We need to address your individual symptoms like the ear ringing or the headache. I've had headaches. I don't get headaches. I'm not a migraine person. I've had headaches that have kept me on the couch all this week. So, we're just one day past the peak in between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. So yesterday on the 22nd was the quarter moon, which holds it right here, where there was a full moon on this side and a new moon on this side, and we're sort of halfway through on the eclipse energy, which if we go back to the 13th and 14th, sort of rocked us. But what I'm also noticing is that the 19th, 20th, and 21st were super intense. And I'm going to think that I'm thinking it knocked the Schumann off. It debilitated us. So the lunar eclipse, or the eclipse season is one of the contributors. And keep in mind, go back and look at my previous video on Neptune. We are 7 days from Neptune moving through the final phases of the 29 degree into Aries on the 30th. And these 7 days are going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of mastery. So make sure that we understand that our deepest emotions are being pulled up to the surface. Emotions that we don't forget retrogrades. I didn't even put those on there because there was so much to talk about. But we got Venus retrograde, we've got Mercury retrograde. So when Venus is pulling back in retrograde as Neptune is going forward, these two are the same planets with higher octaves of emotional work, right? So, you know, I had a very dear friend say, how many more days is this going to happen? Make it stop. And what I'm going to say is, I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know that this is going to stop. What I'm going to say is that we have deep emotional work that's going on with Neptune, and when it hits Aries, it's going to go into something completely different, and it will impact us because we have been impacted, and we are in a phase. Some people call it ascension, some people call it expansion. There's a lot of different ways that we can talk about this, but our bodies are changing. And these 3 days, March 19th, 20th, and 21, I'm going to say those were the 3 days of darkness that people have been talking about, because the headaches, the bodies, and it seems like it's feeling a little bit better today, but the winds have been a little obnoxious, right? So, um, we're experiencing exhaustion. We're experiencing lucid dreaming, where we're even watching ourselves having dreams. We're experiencing intense emotions and some agitations. And I'm seeing it out in the street with some anger, with some finger pointing, with some little nitpicky between friends, like all of this, right? So think of chaos, think of changes, think of dismantling, and that some of these truths are coming to the surface. Now, for those of you, oh, I forgot to bring it over here. For those of you who know, I wrote a book called The Indigo Assignment, where we talked about how this frequency since the late 70s has been preparing for this dismantling. And it was one thing to sort of go, maybe a little bit's fallen off at a time, but it feels like big chunks are falling down now, and we don't know what to do with it, right? So these hidden pieces are coming to the surface. Some of them are in our physical world. And what I some what I'm going to say is like the Giza plateau. The fact that maybe for centuries we've thought that the pyramids were all there were, and what we're seeing now is that there are huge structures underneath that are covered with uh, so much sand and dirt, right? So these physical structures are coming to the surface. In physical, they release the JFK files, and we get to experience for the first time that there has been an attempt by a lot of different forms of different governments, different agencies within the United States to remove a president of the United States. And that truth is a little stunning, right? Because, and we're going to talk about this in the tips. So then we are also looking at mental constructs like, oh, yeah, you mean our taxpayer money hasn't been going towards the things that we thought we were paying for? How do we explain that? Like, these constructs just don't make sense. What happens when we can't trust a government system? What happens when we can't trust tax paying? What happens when what happens, right? That swirl. Oh no. I'm going to put one more in there, which is our energetic bodies are also revealing, because, I think I put it off for almost a whole year. I kept having friends telling me to listen to the telepathy tapes. And, I already work with this clientele, and I understand, what happens when we have nonverbal telepathic communication between mother and child, or between the navigator who's there to guard the child. And having this information going mainstream, which is that we can telepathically communicate with each other, means our energy bodies have a connection that we didn't even know about. So it's like, right? So that's just what happened this week. But telepathy tapes only because I started listening to it, right? So what's happening is we have buried emotions and stories coming to the surface, right? That this is the time to deepen your truth, your trust in the truth, your abilities to trust yourself, your abilities to self-talk, your ability to have telepathic communications with your guides, the ability to do yes nos, the ability to have self-knowledge and self-trust, because it's invisible. These invisible things are disturbing us on a eccentric internal level, which is I don't know who to trust. I don't know what to believe. I don't even know if I understand myself right now, right? Um, and the solar energies, the astrology, the geomagnetic, the revelations are just sort of starting to rock us. These disclosures are offering us new information daily about people, places, and things and energy, right? We're expanding our known information. When that known information comes, it's at a pace that we thought we could do, but we can't. So here I'm going to show a couple of things. To me, this is how Osho shows the chariot, which is this internal you is starting to come out, and this other external is kind of like, what is going on? And this wise one inside is saying, it's okay. We have to trust this. I like this image of the magician, which is I'm going to sit and watch all of this. I like this one as the knight, or the messenger of pentacles, which is I'm going to follow the information. It's going to take me away from down deep into the forest where I didn't even think I was going, but I'm going to follow it and I'm going to feel it in my body and I'm going to trust it. And then when I go to trust, I often think about this one. And I think this is sort of where we are with the eclipse right now. Osho called this the totality, which is you can't afford to be even a little bit absent. But I'm thinking, like this one's ready to let go. This one hasn't really grabbed hold of the hands yet. And there's going to be a point where you're hanging in the middle between letting go of what used to exist and going towards what does. Within water, this is the night of water, which is fully trusting that no matter where you go, you're going to land okay. Which makes sense that I put in also this guy because, and I'm not sure that I have never liked the fact that Osho calls this the schizophrenia, because what it is that our old world is behind us. Our new world is ahead, and we're in that rumbling. And what am I supposed to do? And the idea is to just drop, right? And trust what's happening and just know that you're in this liminal space where things are going to work out. Things are going to happen. Okay. So, let's see, what else do I have for you? We have wanted change. We've anticipated new information. We studied it. Like, wow, what's it going to be like when disclosure happens? What's it going to be like when I can feel my heart and know who I am and what my purpose is? And yet, when these things are coming to the surface, these are isolated events. This isn't just like, oh, wait a minute, everything we learned about the pyramids may be off. Oh, everything that's been hidden with JFK is now being revealed. Like, what happens is that it displays a level of interconnectedness, the way that everything is connected, that is going to have to fall apart as well. That's going to show us that in order to get up to here, we're going to have to figure out where all of these systems are interconnected, interpaid for, part of a system that was kept from us, and these waves of reconstructing our thoughts, our feelings, and our fears. We are just beginning on this. So energetically, we're being rocked, but we're also having these revelations coming out that are like, how am I going to navigate through this, right? So I have 6 tips for you. And before I go into the tips, what I want to do is just let you know 2 things. There's a great resource at my Patreon, $11 a month. You can come on and join the discussion, or you can just read some of the articles that I'm gathering, reading, and posting about, like, where does all this information come from, right? And the second thing is that lovely, I've had 3 to 4 clients, new people a week, just booking either a tarot reading or a session with me where it's like, help me lay out what's going on And let's work on a tool or a way to bring some clarity in that, and I think that's really helpful right now. So if I can be of service, please go down below in the description, and there's a link for how to book time with me. Okay? Thank you. Okay, tips. Number 1, do less, breathe more. Like chop wood, carry water, right? um, in order to address the rapid fire emotions, the challenges that, we have to set our feet, we have to sort of stand up straight, make sure your sit bones are in the chair, right? We need to ground, we need to deepen our breath, we need to expand our observer and watch for the things that actually matter, because the fray is just going to keep coming by you. The anger, the words, the news, it's just nasty. The people honking the horn at the intersection, it's just nasty. So just expand and then pay attention to where your source of information is, where your truth is. And I like this, which is don't jump in there. Just stand out here and watch. And make sure your observer's like, what is the water doing? When is it time for me to go in? I love this image because she's being patient and she's watching, right? Number 2, create calm and inner trust inside and out. If you're in reaction, if there's anger, if there's fear, you can't follow what's coming in. You can't keep track of all of the things that are happening if you're not at your center, where it's really slow and very calm. It can be very disturbing out here. So what we want to do is we want to follow what's coming in, but not take it on, almost like Neo in the Matrix, right, where he just slows everything down and watches it go by, or like, can bend when a punch or a bullet can come towards him, right? So just know that's what we want to do. We want to create calm, internal and external, so that we can take things on when they come and dodge them, right? I'm not getting involved in that. No, no, thank you. Right. Number 3, and this is important. We have been trained to go into reaction. So that's why we're going to do less and breathe more and create calmness, because number 3, we've been trained to go into reaction, whether it's anger, whether it's finger pointing, to blame the external for what we're feeling on the inside, right? This has been very carefully designed to keep our energy scattered, and our communication and our contact with our inner self in turmoil. So what we want to do is create ways that let you be surprised, let you digest what's coming in, because your surprise and reaction, your disgust, your fear, you want to learn how to just go, oh yeah, you're not winning me, you're not beating me on this one, you're not winning. I'm not going into reaction. I have something deeper underneath. I'm going to go find it. Right? Ah, yes. Okay. Number 4, prepare. More will come, much more. We know this because right now the main energy is coming up through our deep emotions. They're coming to the surface. We are feeling distrust. We're feeling betrayal. We're feeling anger. We're feeling shame. We're blame, fear. Neptune's doing its work. In this last 29 degrees, for the last 14 years, it's been saying, hey, get a handle on these emotions. Don't get derailed by them. And now we're in like that, what is it, semester finals. We have to prove what you've learned and what you know how to do. And you're still, of course, if you're in a college environment, you're still taking one class after the other in order to do this level of mastery. So what you learned in one class is going to move on and help you with the next one, right? So we prepare more, we desire more, we create ways to add, our personal truth, right? Because what's coming next when Neptune leaves water is fire, which is where passion and momentum and our own personal power, and Aries, that individual of who am I in the midst of all this fray. So we're going to be challenged on a whole nother level when Neptune goes there, and then Saturn is slugging along behind it, and Neptune and Saturn are going to go into Aries, and you're like, oh no. And it could be really fun, right? Number 5, know that people, places, and things are naturally going to fall away, because this is relational work. Our relationship with dissonance, our relationship with resonance is not personal at all. It's almost like the example I would use is that there's a certain kind of food that you've always loved or binged on or just enjoyed, right? And I thought uh, I got a bag of potato chips, that and I a small one, and I ate one, and I was like, can't even do this anymore. And I thought, this is so interesting because the things that used to bring me joy or that I used to hold together, even relationships, there's some people I don't want to see anymore. There's some people that don't want to see me anymore. And again, it's not personal, it's energetic, right? And number six, have compassion because these energies and these disclosures are bringing so much out within us, and we're all doing it at our own pace. So some of us are in pain, some of us are starting to find our feet, some of us are navigating really well and leading. We're all at different phases of this, so have compassion with yourself through this process, right? And if you need any support with that, please drop me a note, or book a session with me. And I'm just so thankful that you're here and that we get a chance to talk about this. And I will see you next week. Be safe out there. Bye.